We're used to the idea of prayer as a conversation with God, in which we might offer thanksgiving for things which have happened, or ask for forgiveness for things that we've done, or intercede on behalf of people who are suffering. And intrinsic to all those things is the idea of verbal expression. And contemplative prayer doesn't involve much verbal expression. And so it can seem as if it's not really a kind of prayer at all. One way of thinking about it is that prayer is more about relationship in a broader sense than conversation specifically. And relationship is mediated by attention and intention as much as expression. And an example of this that might be familiar to some people is a bonding exercise in which you sit opposite someone you don't know and you look into their face, and particularly their eyes, in silence for several minutes. And most people who've done this find that it promotes a feeling of affection and compassion and attachment to that person, even though you've had no real communication verbally and may know very little about them. And over time, people who practice contemplative prayer say something similar about contemplation. You're not sure how it's happened, but you feel some kind of relationship has developed. And at the high points of your practice, you may experience a great sense of calm and peace and well-being. But very often, equally as often, if not more often, you will feel distracted and unable to concentrate. And this can feel like a failure, and it leads a lot of people to give up practicing. But over time, and with experience, you begin to develop the ability to distinguish between trivial and non-trivial distractions. And the trivial distractions, the earworms and the advert jingles, you can just allow to drift past the eye of the mind, as it were. But the non-trivial distractions, the things which occupy your mind that seem to have meaning and relevance to you, you can take the opportunity to explore, and often they are things that you'd forgotten, or things you'd been unwilling to acknowledge, or things that you'd deliberately pushed away. And so prayer, contemplative prayer, allows you the opportunity to explore these things with God and offer them to God for some kind of resolution. And so this process can become a real source of guidance and solace. And so while contemplative prayer is extremely simple, it's also quite difficult. But the interesting thing is that even when you fail and you lose concentration, there is often something beneficial about having done so. But the benefits that accrue with contemplative prayer only happen over time and with practice. And most practitioners recommend that you practice ideally on a daily basis, once perhaps, but definitely twice is a good idea, morning and evening, for around 20 minutes. And of course, if you're a beginner, even 5 or 10 minutes once a day can be very challenging and very beneficial. And there are various methods which are used. One method is to simply concentrate on a single word that you've chosen. Another is to repeat a short prayer in time with your breath. And a third is just to sit and try to absorb the silence and the stillness around you. There's no need to be doctrinaire about method. They all work. Some people prefer one method. It's not really important. The important thing is to take the time to practice, to find the space to sit and to reflect and to slow down, and to allow yourself to absorb some of the stillness and the silence and the peace which is already around you. So particularly if you are in isolation at this time, think about giving it a go and see where you get with it.